Game on, ladies and gentlemen. The grand final has started, ladies. And all the way up to the top left of our first map in the best of 5 series on Echo Isles, we have Toxie, Nightelf player, making it through the semi, going up against Kira. Always impressive when you take Kira down, because that guy is devious. With his little death note, he's always a huge player to go up against. Obviously. Up to the top right now, we have SyDe. So SyDe already jumping into this one as Undead. He was able to take down Kevin in the other semi-final. This is the first qualifier for the Masters Clash series. And yeah, for the main event, with an offline final in Paris, of course. So a lot of French players definitely in this one, especially of course in the first qualifier. Was a little bit poorly advertised, so now we have mainly French players participating in it. As you can see, Toxie also hailing from France. And I'm pretty sure that when we're heading into qualifier number 2, we're going to see a lot more players actually jump in on this one. Others already earlier went into the stream and immediately said like, hey, wait a second, what exactly is this? Are there going to be more qualifiers? Any chance that we can still participate? And Xlord and a few others, for example, contacting me either through Twitch or on Discord. And, well, in this case now, SyDe is already starting things up with his Death Knight. So for him, this is one of the series where he definitely has a shot to take the entire thing and win the tournament here. But Toxie has other plans. There's a little bit of a delayed Altar of Elders, as you can already see. So let's see how he's going to open this one up. So far, he played the same matchup actually in the previous series in the semifinals. And in that case, he went for a Keeper in his opening. But with a delay on the altar, as you can already imagine, with that Wisp moving straight into the middle, we're likely looking at a Tavern first hero here for him. So one of the neutral heroes is going to make it into this one. Scouts are already happening as we speak. And there is the Death Knight. A little bit of DK action. Go for a creep, and what are we going to get in the middle of the map? So, Toxie, in this case, opening things up with a Dark Ranger. Yeah, Hot is actually playing this a little bit. Hot, one of the old school players back in the days for SK Gaming, that is also now playing WarCraft 3 a little bit more. And the interesting part is actually that he has some... I mean, he's really experimenting a lot, and he's also playing with Dark Ranger as a first hero quite a few times. If you can get that beast on a high level, then it is really nasty. And of course, one of the big advantages playing a Dark Ranger against Undead is that you're not risking a Coil Nova action against you that quickly drops the hero, and then you lose the game afterwards, after the Undead just cleans up the entire army. Because you can't coil a Dark Ranger. I mean, I guess you can, but it would heal her, so in this case, you can't actually coil an opponent's Dark Ranger, which would be kind of funny. Just think about that for a second. Your opponent is nearly dead on the Dark Ranger, want to heal a unit next to her, misclick a little bit, and instead you heal your opponent's first hero. Honestly, I think that Blizzard should implement that. If you make that misclick, then it's kind of your own fault, right? So lift that skill ceiling a little bit and make it happen. But it also is a great tool for creeping. Experience on the Death Knight, we have already a little bit. And he also has a few items in the inventory that will please the Lich later on. Unless, of course, he wants to play with a more pressure-oriented build and go instead into a Naga. But Lich, very likely it's going to be. Yeah, Dark Ranger is going to get quite something done here. But the Death Knight is lurking. Always lurking. A little bit of a lurker and a stalker, and bam, there's the coil, and there's the level up. Item will be grabbed by... oh, and he gets another hit in. Damn, son, nicely done. SyDe with the first snipe through the coil, and then the auto attack kill down here. Right now, the Tree of Life gets built. Not really something that he can interrupt with the Death Knight only, but that harass has really worked out. You look at the experience levels on the two heroes, and we have 1.9 for the Dark Ranger and 2.4 already for the DK. So a really nice boost that he currently has on that side. Yeah, without Dust of Appearance, he's not going to have a lot of chances of taking those archers down. It's not like he has some AoE damage like the Lich, which would allow him to attack a unit standing right next to it. But if he can, for example, snipe that Orga Magi, that would be the dream. I really don't think that Toxie is going to allow for that. That would be incredible. But honestly, if Toxie is completely letting this happen. What? Massive misplay here from the Nightelf. Not only is he allowing the Undead to move over and take that Augur Magi down, but he's also grabbing the item itself. So now we have a Death Knight on level 2.7, and with 2 claws of attack, that Lich is going to murder, or the Naga, both of them, doesn't really matter. So with all of what's going on here already, he decides to go into the Naga, and he has the immediate pressure play, plus 12 damage. Guys, this is kind of nuts. And you gotta admit, Toxie in this case should have followed that Death Knight a bit more aggressively in an attempt to shoot him away. Does he not realize that his tree is getting attacked here either? Oh my god, like now he apparently sees it happening, but this might be a little bit too late. Guys, he might get the cancel here. What? Holy shit! What an opening! Damn son, he's actually able to get that kill in. That is insane. That's an amazing amount of time that's being lost here. Oh, and the Death Knight survives. Doesn't even have to use the Town Portal. Oh my god. This is a disaster for Toxie. Loses so much experience to the Death Knight harass. Then the second hero comes in and he starts losing, well, not really units, but, well, he's gonna start losing units soon if at any point we're gonna see a Dust of Appearance being dropped or at a night end. But this is a nightmare for him. Having to cancel that expansion is an absolute disaster. Keeper as the second hero, as we're still seeing aggression against the Dark Ranger. Now one ghoul is taken down, but the rest of the army should easily survive with the Death Knight also providing the aura now. But this is rough. This is really rough going. The base, I mean the Tree of Life is halfway done, but you look in the main base, there's a Black Citadel attack that's nearly completed. We have already statues being built, and in comes more pressure. SyDe is trying to keep his Death Knight alive for as long as he can, and that's one of the main reasons why he's so far behind right now. Always trailing a little bit here, but that army is not looking too happy here. Okay, body blocking, I like it. Can he get the Death Knight? I doubt it. But maybe a little bit of a Naga thing. She slithers her way out. And Tangle? No, not against the Naga. And now we have the first Hippogriff Riders in. Yeah, Hippogriff Riders on one base is pretty much what we're currently seeing here. Usually it doesn't go too well. We have 34 supply, or 35, 39 for both players. SyDe does the exact same amount, but he can now creep a bit more aggressively. Now, the creep pams in the middle are usually what you really want to take away from your opponent if you possibly can. Reason obviously being simple. The map more or less split but mirrored around the shop at the bottom of the map and the marketplace at the top. So if you can take that away, you have a better position in terms of how much experience you actually get through creeps. Doesn't really matter in this game quite just simply because SyDe was able to steal so much XP away from his opponent with the early creep jack that he executed with the Death Knight and all those coils that he shot out. But this is, I mean, this is a tough opening for Toxie, no doubt. So now he gets the Wand of Mana stealing here. But the army is actually not looking too bad for a SyDe. I mean, he's at 44 supply right now. He has statues, he has Crypt Fiends, and we have him on the Black Citadel attack. And guess what? Third hero, Lich is gonna come through, and Lich is gonna do pretty well against this. Up to the point where we have more and more of those fairy dragons in the game. This is going to do wonders. You're going to get a lot of AoE damage out. If you can get, for example, the Naga on level 2 and gets the Forked Lightning on top of that, then he has Forked Lightning and he has Nova, which is just ripping through those units. And he can easily now just creep those a little bit higher. Gets the Wisp as well. There was no detonate, so he doesn't get that either. And, yep, this is pretty sweet so far for him. Now, there is a bit of a steal at the bottom right, so at least that's going on. There's a level 3 by now for the Dark Ranger. We have in the inventory also a Circlet of Mobility, but at least that this camp is taken. And the second and the third hero are getting the experience in the items. And guys, just check out that Lich. 17 additional damage already and Gloves of Haste to boot. That's some solid setup. And now that we see those minions being sent over, that's of course extra experience that he gets. Not a massive amount or anything, but hey, it counts, right? So, need to take them down one after another. 50 supply for Toxie. And yeah, he is gonna have a tough time. That keeper in particular might be in trouble. And already, there's the attack. Slowly but steadily, we're seeing SyDe move forward. Moving also down to the shop right now and attempt to check out what exactly is happening here. Still sees a couple of creeps, and the aggression towards the expansion is going to happen. Toxie is doing what he tried to do in the previous games against Undead as well. He's going for the main base and saying like, hey, if you go for my expansion, I go for your main base. Portal or die. But there's a double spirit tower already, so that is really good to take that down. He's actually going to lose one. Wow. Okay, so he's starting to lose units to the spirit towers, and, well, down here, that's a pretty easy snipe against that base. Toxie's going to lose that. Toxie is going to lose this base. That expansion is going to fall, and up to the top, let's have a quick look at the gold mine. That gold mine is still looking absolutely super. And we have another Griffin fall. Holy shit, the hippogriffs are falling. Now there's a bit more sniping going on now too, and this is bad news. Another hippogriff bites the dust, so this was a massive loss. By now, Toxie's on 45 supply, SyDe is on 43. The main base is still absolutely Gucci. We have down at the bottom left of the map the expansion sniped as expected, and you look at hero levels, and we have not only the Lich but also the Naga on level 2, the Death Knight on 3. There's another unit that gets eliminated. The Fairy Dragon is down. He has the Nightelf on the ropes now in game number 1 of this best of 5 series. SyDe is absolutely bullying his opponent. He is really just slapping him around at this point. It's one base against one base now, with fantastic heroes on the Undead side. I mean, the Naga alone is also already going to be on level 3 in just a little bit. And yeah, he's looking great here. And on a one base, Nightelf is going to have huge problem with this entire setup here. Death Knight is still sitting tight. Okay, so over here, creep continues. We'll see that Renegade Wizard fall. And I'm honestly curious to see how he's going to plan on taking SyDe down now, because this is going to be incredibly difficult to pull off. He pretty much has one attack left, and that's about it. Now that we have that Naga nearly on level 3, yeah, there's a bit of Dispel already happening. Does he actually try and rebuild? Yeah, he's rebuilding that base, so he's not going for a YOLO moment, but instead attempting to rebuild the base at the bottom left of the map. And over here, there's still the attempt to just, I mean, right now his side has just to make sure that nobody's taking the base here. He still has it. Actually, he doesn't have the town portal in. No, he rebought one. Sorry. It's actually not on. For some reason, it's not at the top right. It's not listed there. But yeah, there's the attack down to the bottom of the map again. And if he cancels the base again, the only thing that Toxie has is that army. Yeah, that's going to be tough. So he's already a little bit late on this one, but with the town portal rebought, he can now start to cancel the base again. No second source of income for Toxie. Wisp gets detonated, and if he needs to, he can portal into the main base. Down here, maybe even attempt to set another base up for himself, but of course with those... First of all with the Black Citadel, but also with the double Spirit Tower. That's going to be tricky to take down one way or another, and it's a town port trade that he goes for. Just trades town portals here. I don't really think he can make that play that much. Oh, especially if he loses. No. That could have been dicey. He could have lost another unit there. That would have been a negative trade for him as well. There's not a lot of creep camps on the map available anymore either. We have still the marketplace on the... sorry, the mercenary camp on the left side, not the creep. And down at the bottom right, the turtle can be taken. But he can go for an expansion now too if he really wants to. And there's the creep pattern right there. So, starts to go in and tries to get... Well, doesn't only try. Succeeds in getting the Dark Ranger on 4. Still has the Wand of Mana Stealing in the inventory. So yeah, some decent stuff here. But once that this camp is taken, what's going to happen is very, very quickly a level 3 Naga and a level 3 Lich. And that hurts in those fights. Scout at the bottom reveals that there's another attempt to go for the Tree of Life. There's also a bit of scouting happening in the main base as the Wand of Illusion is going to put to some good use. In terms of items, we can now see even the Ring of Regeneration. And yeah, with scouting in the main base, it seems like we see the exact same thing happening on the side of Toxie again. It's just a ring around the rosy play. He's trying to move up towards the top, attack the base again, force the town portal back. And if he makes that play a couple of times, then eventually, of course, he's hoping to get this expansion through. That's pretty much the idea. It's just like a chicken game that he is playing. Yep, and he already portaled out. Baited! Yep, Staff of Teleportation. He just baited him. He faked the TP with the Staff of Teleportation and is losing this after all, so now he just portaled back and got nothing from it. Nice fake out. Really well done by his side. That was great. And now the Nightelf from here on out will never know if it's a real TP or not. So that's a huge problem. Destroyer gets saved and here's the fight. First of the fruit flies is already down, as we have one of them fall. Fairy dragons everywhere, which means that most of those skills will be used for heroes already. The setup against the Keeper. Entangle, Coil keeps it in play, alright. Always have to use those destroyers, of course, to get rid of the Entangle too. But with the massive amount of Fairy Dragons, this is always nasty. For an Undead, it's a really uncomfortable spot to be in, simply because you can't use any of your AoE spells and direct damage spells to take the Fairy Dragons down. They are immune. So, yep, there we go. But Toxie is on 52 supply now. SyDe is on 49, which means that the Nightelf has moved into the low upkeep and therefore pays a price now. There's another quick snipe. Good damage also against the Keeper as he pokes it low. And being in low upkeep without having an expansion ready is always a bit of an issue. But thanks to that Hippogriff being eliminated, he's now back to below 50 supply. Can't coil the Naga, so gotta be careful around that. Is he gonna go for an expansion, by the way? Well, he has the Acolyte there, so he could if he wanted to. In the main base, we don't really see too much at it now. New Ziggurats coming in, but now he has 3 Spirit Towers here, so even more than before, just to make sure that these entire just base race scenarios that Toxie wants to push him into don't really happen. With level 4 Dark Ranger, we have a Silence, of course, on level 2 now as well, which makes things always a little bit uncomfortable, because if the Lich, let's say, gets attacked and focused, and then you hit a Silent hits the Death Knight at appropriate timing, then that is going to be the end of that. Toxie at 50, going for the expansion again. Down here with the Destroyers. Tries to take those down. Sees the Acolyte, by the way. And now with the Sacrificial Skull, he also summons the Blight, so that we can immediately have a Ziggurat there. We'll probably also put another Necropolis in play as quickly as he can, because he might have to TP in at some point. Wow, he even found Pen of Energy here. 570 energy on the Lich. That's a lot of nuking.
Town is under siege.
Yeah, well, and now with the expansion coming up for the Undead too, seems like Toxie wants to make a play there, but as you can already tell, that Keeper gets attacked time and time again. Keeper in the main base, okay, got staffed back for hit points and mana. And every single time that he pokes his head out, he's just going to get nuked. He's the only hero, literally, that can be nuked. He can't nuke the Dark Ranger. Well, I guess you can nuke it a little bit. You can at least drop the Nova and you can drop the Forked Lightning, but you can't really drop the Coil as a finisher. And there's not a lot of units anymore in the skies where you could use your spells either. So the Keeper is going to be the primary target no matter what. And with that, probably well advised to try and get himself a potion of lesser invulnerability. If he can. Could even be bought away now by the Death Knight. There's only one shop on the map. DK already spotting all of this out, but now that he has vision at the top, because the Fiend is getting murdered, he knows what's up. 55 supply against 60. Yep. But 2 base versus 2 base any second. Not a mining base for SyDe yet at the bottom of the map. And here we go, a little bit of Dispel is happening again. If he can get the heroes, then he has a chance there. Web is already being used. Okay, there we go. And we have one Nerubian Tower in play and also a Spirit Tower. But as you can tell here, not even a gold mine being haunted yet. Yeah, SyDe at 53 supply. Guys, Toxie is 10 supply ahead at this point. And he's summoning more shit just as we talk about it. The Dispel is there, but another Fiend falls. He's starting to take those Fruit Flies down, one after another. Fairy Dragons everywhere. One eliminated, gets the second one. Next round of Webs is in 2. Needs to go for the Focus Fire here. But he's going for the hit and run. Good old Undead hit and run with a level 2 aura trying to play around the web. But that Coil came way too late. Coil comes too late, and Toxie is at 64 supply against 47. SyDe is going up against a mass Fairy Dragon army, and it is always tricky to play off against that. Oh, there's the aura on level 2. My bad, he was actually on level 3. Did have the aura only on level 1. Apologies. But now, of course, he has the added bonus there. Look at those heroes on the other hand. That Forked Lightning is doing wonders. And now he's actually staffing... Yeah, he has to TP out of this one. But he has done a lot of damage with it. Another one of those Bright Wings goes down. And now we have 60 supply against 41. SyDe is losing a lot of ground here. The heroes aren't really the problem, because he has great heroes that he can use to just completely shut down the Keeper. but he has mad problems, as pretty much any Undead player that has to go off against this many fairy dragons, to deal with them. And it wasn't really the best trade at the end there for Toxie. He lost a couple of those fairy dragons and had to also TP out, but he has now had this expansion up for quite a bit. So he actually mined a few thousand out of it. And on the right side of the map, the gold mine is going to take some time for it to be saturated and to actually earn him dividends. So that's a problem. So that will be tricky now. I'm actually really curious if SyDe can win this one, because chances are that Toxie is just going to absolutely drown him in in fairy dragons, and he's just trying to snipe that. He's playing red Dota the entire time here, so he's just ratting in. Yeah, that's probably a dead, well, not a dead keeper, because he can staff it out. Could make a play for the Dark Ranger and force another town portal here, but the gold mine already got cancelled. Fiends are falling as we speak. There's a level 5 from the Dark Ranger. Guys, SyDe is in trouble. He's really in trouble. I mean, he has been for a while, but this is getting from bad to worse now. Yeah, the Dark Ranger can always TP. There's no problem TPing out of this one. I honestly don't know why he didn't make that already. He wants to get a few more units with it. He gets the Destroyer, there's the town portal. Toxie is at 62 supply. SyDe is at 34. This is over. If he just keeps the exact same pattern up, this is game. And he has the resources to do it. 62 supply, he has the gold, he can just simply move down to the shop also. First of all, he needs to rebuy the town portal, which he already did. He also bought himself real quickly a potion of healing. And if he really wants to, he can also get a couple of scrolls in if need be. Potion of Lesser Invulnerability is pretty much all that he needs right now. So, despite the fact that we had a really solid opening for SyDe, this is actually a great game for Toxie now. Once that he got this many fairy dragons into the game, it was a completely different story. And just imagine, like, this all happened after SyDe was able to snipe creep after creep in the early game, got a massive lead there, and also destroyed the expansion, as it was nearly done. So it was a mad time win that he had. If he doesn't get a lucky punch in against any of those heroes, then it's over, and instead it's actually the Naga that gets nearly sniped. Potion of Lesser Invulnerability makes it happen, but he just snipes that gold mine over and over and over again and TPs out. He just starves him. This is all that he has to do. Kill that gold mine. 42 supply for SyDe. And yeah, he gets the heroes a little bit higher, but it's not like he's gonna hit level 5 with any of them any moment. He has the Naga on 4, so that's worth something, but you look in the main base, there's 1,000 gold left for SyDe. He's at 45 supply right now, and it's tricky. Now, on the flip side, of course, Toxie is investing a lot of resources in this right now. With him starting to jump in and just sniping that base the entire time, it also means that every single time he TPs out, he is losing gold. So now he's not attacking units anymore. Previously, he was actually going for the fights, taking a few units down and then TPing out. Now he's a little bit more single-minded around this. Maybe still with an attempt to get some of the reinforcements, and it seems like he might be able to grab a Fiend here, if he figures that one out. But yep, there's the next attack. Comes in from the side, from the angle, snipes the gold mine again, gets cancelled right away. And there's the nuke on the Keeper, has to staff that one out. That's going to happen anytime soon. Yep, Potion of Lesser Invulnerability already used right there. And the snipe on the Fiends now. If SyDe wants to win this, he needs to kill some stuff. He needs to make this a bad trade for the Nightelf. And it's not happening. Not especially with all of those trees on the ground too. He gets experience, and the Lich is now on level 4 as well. But everything is being chased here. Every single unit. Yes, that's the end of another statue. SyDe is on 41 supply against 66. Toxie is just focused, firing the shit out of his units. And with the Keeper gone, there's very little to attack with spells. The only thing that's left is, of course, now the Dark Ranger. They can still attack at least a little bit with the Nova and the Forked Lightning. But Acolytes are now just dying. If he can't get at least a few of those Fairy Dragons, then he's going to be in even more trouble. And the whole idea is, of course, to force another Town Portal, and that's going to happen any second. Town Portal is through, gets one of the Fairy Dragons, and that's that. SyDe, 35 supply. 32. Let's have a quick look up in the top. He's still mining. It's 200 gold, and that's it. Main base of the Nightelf, that base is already gone. Down to the bottom of the map, on the other hand, bam, 8,000 gold right there. If that base ever gets through, then it's a very, very different game. But now the army is so small that I'm not sure that SyDe really has what it takes to fight back. He has a Pendant of Energy by now on the Death Knight, by the way, and also a Mana Potion, so there's a lot of coils that he can use there to save some additional units. But here comes the next attack. I mean, it's the same game. It's just over and over and over again, the same pattern. And now without Destroyers, that also means that all of those Treants are doing even more. Yep, and there's the TP that has to be used. He's abandoning all of this. Yep, with him TPing... Oh, actually he doesn't. Okay, he goes out of the range. Still fighting for it. Cancels again. Is going to come in with it in just another moment. But this is going to be the death blow right here. There's the silence. He tries to get the Dark Ranger. Dark Ranger TP's out. Shocker, I know. Who saw it coming? Dark Ranger TP's out. Bam. Again, it's Red Dota. He's just completely annoying him. Staff of Teleportation gets used for just a moment, but he doesn't even rebuild it. He doesn't have enough gold. So he has to actually go up with a Death Knight, sell items in order to rebuild that base. And his mining in the main base is gone. He can unsummon a couple of buildings, but that is it. And what does Toxie do? Let me think about this real quickly. Rebuy the town portal and make the same play again? Yeah, you guessed right. So that's that. I mean, in an ideal world, what the Undead could do is try and meet his opponent halfway across the map and buy a little bit more time for that Haunted Goldmine to be built. The problem is, if he does that, he abandons the safety of those two towers, and he can't afford to do that. He doesn't have enough. So, yep. This is going to be more than a bit rough, because this is literally the last attack that Toxie has to pull off in order to get himself the lead in the best of 5. This is the last one. 42 supply against 62. 20 supply lead. Already comes in. Can try and snipe something here. But yeah, there we go. There's the webs out, and those webs, can he do anything with it? Can he focus some of these units? There's going to be the cancel any second. How many can he actually take down? The game continues with the same pattern. He's trying to take... Yeah, he's portaling out. Gets immediately attacked, portals out. SyDe rebuilds the base and is literally on 0 gold now. 0. Massive amount of fairy dragons now. 64 supply. It is daytime though, which means that the Dark Ranger can actually not drain Moonwells anymore. The Moonwells are pretty much empty. So that is a slight game changer now. Just a tiny one though. But yep, army is already moving in. Dark Ranger is sitting in the base. 200 hit points out of 1,000. So that's the one thing that might just buy him a little bit of time. The Undead player. And he hasn't given up yet. I mean, he never really gave up this game. This is honestly a bit of an insane setup now. Yeah, there's already the scout. Knows what's coming. And there's no Dark Ranger with this time. And only the Keeper, he doesn't have a chance. He needs to be staffed out again. 60 supply for him. Gold mine, he might get it this time. The problem is he can't even repair. The gold mine might actually make it through. Honestly, if he can get himself another source of income, that would be insane. If he is somehow making this happen, because again, keep in mind, these trades are not really positive for the Nightelf. And he is only at 5,800 gold in his natural. Whereas down here, that's still 12,500. So if this base makes it through, there is honestly a serious chance that in the long run Toxie is still losing this. It's honestly kind of nuts. And he's attacking, he's shifting the pattern. He's attacking the main base. Trying to take the shop down. That doesn't matter even anymore at this point. And this is buying SyDe the time he needs to get his base up down here. Oh my god. Wow. One more cancel was all that was needed, and SyDe wouldn't have had any gold unless he unsummoned stuff. And now he's mining again. Now he's mining again and he holds the base. Can he actually pull this off? Immediate Nova to the face of the Keeper. I mean, seriously? Is SyDe actually going to make this happen? Gets himself a 2 more relics down here. 45 supply for him. And his opponent is now sitting on 63 again. Items. Town portals in. Immediately the attack on the Keeper. Keeper is already on the retreat and is getting staffed out right away. Didn't really do anything here. Immediate staff on that. And guys, now this is starting to get a little bit weird. Because, well, that tomb is already taken down. Tomb of Relics. Can he get a kill somehow against something? Not against the Destroyer. That one gets coiled. And the focus on the Dark Ranger, he has to move out again. And he doesn't really kill anything with this attack. Dark Ranger is, by the way, nearly level 6. Once that we are on level 6, this is going to become even more nasty. The level 6 Dark Ranger is just insanity. The craziest thing would be if he gets somehow those undead heroes on level 5. And SyDe is all of a sudden in a spot where he's saying like, I can actually move out now. I can actually start doing something. And he goes to the shop and he buys himself the Potion of Lesser Invulnerability. First of all, he buys it for himself. Second of all, he actually steals it away from the opponent. So, yep. That's now something that's not available anymore to Toxie. And Toxie kind of needs that. So instead he buys himself a Potion of Healing. Keeper is, I don't want to say dead weight, but he is going to be met by a lot of aggression whenever there's an attack coming. Toxie is at 61 supplies. SyDe is at 51 now. He's actually at 51. Yep, and he's starting to get more attacks through. Immediate Nova onto the Dark Ranger. Before the fight even happens. So the cooldown is going to be ready in just another moment. And off we go. There's the fight right here, and now Toxie's in trouble. First of all, he's losing more of those fairy dragons. Second of all, he is really trying to win the fight this time. He's going for the actual attack here. Where is that next Nova? Where's the Forked Lightning? He's trying to focus those units down, and with the Entangle is able to make it happen, get at least one eliminated. Starts to shift down to the bottom again. Has to be careful again. 2 towers are there. Tries to go for the base, maybe even for the Acolytes. Not sure if he can get all of those. And the Undead player is coming back in again, and this is a position where you don't really want to fight. So once again, we have those fairy dragons in a lot of trouble, and now they're getting focused one after another. And they are low, guys. They're really low. 1 down, 2 down, 3 down. Can get even more damage in. There's level 6. Yes. Level 6. The ult is in. Time to buy some Undead units. Yeah, convert them over, but he's losing ground, and he's portaling out again. Toxie is at 60 supply now. 60 supply, and we have 52 for SyDe. And SyDe has now nearly 3 heroes on level 5. He's not quite there yet, though. But he's getting a bit closer. This game is nuts. This game is honestly nuts. What's the main base or the expansion saying? 3,000 gold left. We're down to 3,000 gold for Toxie. That's all that he has. This is only the first game in the best of 5. Items are being bought all over the place now. Double Potion of Healing for the Keeper. And another town portal. How much money has he spent on town portals? Must have been more than 3,000 by now. That's crazy. If those heroes make it to level 5. Yeah, but he needs statues again. That's a big problem. Look at this. Destroyer for Toxie. Yep, Dark Ranger on level 6, baby. Steal.
A player's forces are under
steals everything away. Well, and here we go again. Can he take a few more of these units down? Can he hold that base one more time? One more time, baby. He's trying. He's trying so hard to kill a few more auto attacks, obviously, against everything, but the statue is already down. Death Knight in trouble. Death Knight in so much trouble. Has to use the Potion of Lesser Invulnerability. Nearly the kill against the Keeper, but he gets staffed out again, and now the focus onto the Fairy Dragons, and the 2 ranged units are, of course, doing what they can to take them down one at a time. He focuses, refocuses, tries to eliminate them. Toxie is down to 53 supply. We have the Death Knight nearly on level 5. Nearly on 5. Has to keep that Lich in play. Has to keep that Lich safe. And nearly does. Can he take another few of those Fairy Dragons out? They're so low already, but that silence is such a big problem. The Lich! Oh, what a coil! Oh my god. 58 supply against 33. If he just can take a few of these units down and focus them properly. But there's the Fiend eliminated. Oh, SyDe, 27 supply. Another hit and another Fairy Dragon about to go down. But yeah, it's just a targeting question at this point. 1 Fairy Dragon down. He tries to go for another one. Level 5 is still not in. Killed by the tower here. Another one falling. Still not enough experience. The base is still going on strong. But look at those units. Look at those hit points. Look at the Death Knight. No, this is the end of it. The Death Knight down. And that should be the end of the game. Oh my god. Death Knight down, Lich gets attacked. Yep, right-click those undead units, and down they go. Level 7 on the Dark Ranger, SyDe on 24. G is typed. Yep, a game it certainly was, and that is the lead for Toxie in the best of 5 series at the grand final of the Masters Clash tournament. Game number 2, the grand final, continues into the second map of the best of 5 series, and Toxie is ahead, able to claim victory on Echo Isles against SyDe. It was a bit of, I mean, it was honestly a bit of an insane match. It felt really that towards the end, SyDe had a real shot of winning the game. One of the things, of course, that kind of broke his neck there was the level 6 on the Dark Ranger, where we had Possession come in play. And yeah, he started possessing those destroyers. That's a pretty decent steal. Now we have our Undead player towards the top right of Concealed Hill, and down to the bottom of the map we have Toxie in blue, the Nightelf player, in the lead in the series, and of course attempting to make this now a 2-0 lead and grab a quick 3-0 against his opponent. But if that's going to work out or not, that's a very, very different question. SyDe looked a little bit annoyed in the last game towards the end, and has also mentioned in the lobby for game number 2 that he feels the Undead expansion is kind of made out of paper, or at least the gold mine, which I can totally understand, to be honest with you, because those snipes were really a nuisance to him. But Toxie did what he had to do to win. Now he's ahead, and we have him starting game number 2 with the Keeper of the Grove, which is, of course, what we've seen in previous games in this from Toxie already. Probably something that SyDe has a little bit of an easier time dealing with, at least when it comes to the potential nuking of the first hero. Having the Dark Ranger as a first hero for Toxie in game number 1 was definitely a huge reason of why the game went as it did. But the unit composition is honestly what we've seen from Toxie in every single series so far. He starts off with archers, he heads straight into the Ancient of Wind, and then goes into, first of all, Hippogriff Riders to transition into Fairy Dragons. And it's an incredible powerful strategy, because Undead is severely dependent on having nuke abilities, having a little bit of a possibility to take units down with Coil, Nova. In this case, it was also Forked Lightning that he was trying to execute there. And if you have magic immune units against you, it becomes a pretty difficult task. So in game number 2, that's definitely something that is likely to happen again from Toxie's perspective. But yep, on the left side already level 2, quite close for the Keeper, has +6 claws of attack, and without any harass in this game, SyDe is just simply going for some creep himself. Goes on the right side, creeps the smaller camps now, has also claws of attack +6, which is going to be great for the Lich later. Again, ranged attack, always nice for those damage dealers. And he has a level 2 and also gets a Cloak of Shadows, which means that he can now Shadow Mend as well. And in we go. At this point, we have still a little bit of creeping happening with ghouls and with skeletons up towards the top, so you can already start to take the giant sea turtle down. Goal is obviously to hit level 2 with the Death Knight as quickly as you can, so that you have also access to your aura, which gives you that slight speed boost. The crab. I like it. Crab just trying to run after the Death Knight. It's like, just wait, I'm gonna get you. I don't really think so. But yep, there we go. Already, same pattern again. Tree of Life is already being built over here. We have the tech into tier 2. So it's pretty much exactly what you expect. But in this case, that Death Knight needs to be dealt with. Because if he doesn't really do anything about it, then this expansion is going to be cancelled again. Even the Acolyte is now coming in and is going to try and help out. But this is likely going to be a cancel. Well, the Entangle is actually denying it for a little bit longer, but the base is getting cancelled again. We've seen the same happen in game number 1, and it didn't change the outcome. But it's obviously slowing him down. Wow, nice reaction. Holy shit. That was clutch. Looked like the coil already detonated on the Wisp, and then the Moonwell gets constructed. And here's, of course, the Tree of Life put in play again. Now, there's a couple of aspects of what this has actually accomplished. Now, first of all, of course, it delayed the expansion by quite a bit. Expansion gets delayed, but at the same time, it also forces the Night Elf to be a bit more passive, since he was already trying to creep the map more aggressively. and get his Keeper to level 3, so that hasn't really happened. So pretty nice moves here from SyDe, which forces the Nightelf now to play more defensive, allows him to get some additional creeps, and he is still in a spot where he is obviously just amassing gold since he's trying to go for his second hero and attack into the Black Citadel now. So with Halls of the Dead reached, ooh, we have him with double crypt actually. Hold your horses here. Okay. Double crypt setup, and we are gonna see gargoyles. Okay. X-Lord Madfolk style is what pretty much is happening here. So SyDe is going for the immediate air aggression, which is interesting because first of all it's going to make the opening of Toxie quite... I mean, it's going to be for an interesting interplay between them, because Toxie, as I said, has been pretty predictable in the strategy that he uses. He so far always went into Hippogriff Riders, and Gargoyles are already great against that. And then another thing that our Gargoyles are actually really good for is they are really great for annoying the shit out of an opponent. Because if you keep Gargoyles in play and just start harassing Wisps in particular, which of course can't be really protected, then you can, first of all, screw with the lumber economy of a Nightelf player pretty easily, and at the same time, you also just pin him down in his base if you play it right. But you can't really lose any Gargoyles in the process. This is a nice touch though. This is a little bit of a different variation of the entire play, because if he can with the Gargoyles now occupy the Nightelf player, then he might actually be able to hide this for a long time and just benefit from that second base. So him expanding and going into Gargoyles at the same time definitely makes this a really, really interesting game right now. Now, that's unlucky. That's just fucking unlucky. Okay, so that's bad. Losing a Gargoyle this early in the game is absolutely annoying. So SyDe can't be happy about this. There's a few more aspects with the Gargoyle play that are now important to note. First of all, we have the Acid Bomb for the Alchemist that comes in as a level. He loses another one to creeps. Oh my god. Actually, he might not lose this one, but that is still problematic. So yeah, it doesn't have to coil it, so it's totally fine, but holy hell. So yeah, now he's starting to attack the Lumber Wisps. But as I said, Alchemist with Acid Bomb is going to be really good against Gargoyles in the long run. And the next thing is that you, of course, can also use them pretty nicely to creep the left and right of the map later on when you have a crucial number of them. But ideally, what you want to do with those Gargoyles is you want to be in a position where you are able to one-shot Wisps. And later on, you also want to snipe the buildings that the Nightelf is trying to build. So yeah, the absolute play of the game now, or the mission for the Gargoyles, is just piss the Nightelf off as much as you can. And don't lose Gargoyles in the process. And he's actually screwing that up a little bit and nearly loses one, because he's invading with the Death Knight at the same time. But of course, since all of this is happening right now, yeah, surround attempt, which in this case fails, the base is coming up. And just so you guys realize this base is mining before Toxie is mining on his. And Toxie doesn't have the foggiest that there's actually an expansion of the Undead top side. So there's a huge problem. And while he's trying to creep this, we have more of an aggression happen against the Ancient of Wonders. Another Wisp gets actually coiled, so the Death Knight is doing his thing. Here's the Acid Bomb. That makes it a little bit difficult for that Gargoyle to survive, so he's going to be in trouble. But he's still trying to work on that shot. So again, he's just buying time. He's annoying his opponent, he's buying time, he's delaying the Nightelf expansion, and he's expanding by himself and has already a mining base here. So the economy is actually better for SyDe right now. Has a better economy than his opponent, he's taking into tier 3, everything is going his way at this point. And he has now also, oh my god, he actually has a potion of invisibility and can snipe some of the creeps down here if he really wants to. First of all, he steals the tomb away. Goodbye, my friend. And he can just simply block also the tree. No, instead he does just simply go for an auto attack. Steals the experience away here. We have a Lich as a second hero in the game now. The expansion is, of course, looking pretty good. Up at the top, could also put down a Necropolis at some point, so just so he has the option to portal in if needed. And yeah, can now start to make the play for the Red Drake. Again, he has Gargoyles. Why not go for the Red Drake? It's an easy snipe there. Even with the Night Elf being close, doesn't see that one coming. And now we have also, as an aura, the Scourge Bone Chimes, which are great for the Gargoyles, I guess. Probably have preferred a different aura instead, but still. So he snipes the item away, snipes the experience. There's now also another shot of going for the expansion down at the bottom. There's a couple of archers to help with this. Archers get attacked, and there's a town portal. Baited the town portal, and the Entangle still hits the Death Knight. And the Death Knight uses immediately the Staff of Teleportation to get out. Great trade for him. Baits out the town portal on the opponent's side, shuts down any potential aggression. The expansion down here is not mining yet. His
player's
is
forces
already
are
doing
under
a
attack.
fantastic job here and has mined more than 1,000 gold. So now he can produce even more gargoyles. Still have double crypt, but also slaughterhouses in play. Gets upgrades too. Bam bam, unholy strength. It's actually starting to go for upgrades also for the ground army now. We haven't really seen him build a whole lot of gargoyles just yet. He's at 49 supply. He's still harassing with a few gargoyles that he has, but that's just 3 left. And it's obviously designed to force a little bit of an overreaction on the Nightelf side.
Player's forces are under attack.
And he's creeping. Still creeping here. And yeah, with all that in play, now that he has the aura as well, if he goes into more and more ghouls, he can definitely start to rock this. Ghouls are already there. Bam, that's a fair amount of them. And in terms of upgrades, Black Citadel tech has been reached. Could go into the 3rd hero now. Gargoyles are still doing what they do best. He doesn't go for that mass gargoyle game. I honestly think even if he would have done that, he would be in a pretty decent spot. By the way, guess what archers... Oh, he gets the turtle. Yeah! Turtle goes down. Goodbye. Take a wild guess what especially ghouls, for example, are really good against. Yeah, it's archers. So once that he decides to make a play here, also now with the Crypt Lord, has another setup. Here we go. Bam! Ghoul Frenzy. And more ghouls are being produced. Guys, he is just going to swarm over him. He needs scrolls, though. If you really want to play a ghoul style, you need scrolls with this. Now, for the Keeper, we have Orb of Venom. And that's actually quite nice. War Song Battle Drums for him. That's a pretty sweet item. It's about as good as he gets, nearly. Talisman of Invasion, on the other hand, for the Alchemist. Level 3 for him now, so on hero levels, he's doing pretty solid. Lich is on 2. And now, the supply, he's at 55. 55 supply for him, 1-1 upgraded ghouls. I'm a bit surprised that we don't... Oh, okay, he has a scroll on the Lich. For a second I was really confused and was like, well, I would have expected him to go at least for 1 scroll. More so for 2, but yeah, he has 1 scroll on the Lich, has the Orb Corruption, decent damage output on him. And he is just going to try and murder that expansion at the bottom of the map. And there's the Crypt Lord. Crypt Lord is in, and Staff of Teleportation to portal down. And this attack, have fun dealing with this. He actually sees the expansion at the top now, and he's actually trying to go for it. There's no way he takes this down. 0. No chance. Absolutely none. And this base is falling within seconds. So now we have this one eliminated, and he can just portal back. I'm gonna force a portal on the Nightelf side. But honestly, right now, what does that portal really give Toxie? Think about it for just a moment. What does that accomplish? Now, SyDe has 58 supply, has 2 bases that are mining. He has just sniped the base of his opponent, or the natural of his opponent. And what exactly is the Nightelf going to do now? He just portaled back, but are his chances going to get any better for the next attack? Very unlikely to happen. Now, the only thing that he can do is can prepare for the fight a bit. He has a Scroll of Protection on his own, has a Scroll of Healing. Here comes the 3rd hero, so he has the Dark the Priest of the Moon in. But we have, at this point... First of all, I mean, the first thing that we have is we have another Red Drake going down. There's a Robe of the Magi, which gives the Lich even more power. He's at 17 extra damage. We have 63 supply for SyDe. While the base is being built, Toxie is sitting at 52. He has nothing that can really deal with those ghouls. I mean, nothing. So this entire attack is going to absolutely murder him. Staff of Teleportation usage again. But this is more than a bit of a nightmare. Look at the hero levels alone. Once that Lich, the Lich is on level 3, that Nova is going to destroy the archers. Absolutely destroy them.
A town is under siege.
Okay. Yeah, down to the bottom of the map. 3 ghouls, easy cancel. I mean, this is honestly the last chance of Toxie. Win this fight or you're dead. And against archers without any upgrades except for the +1 attack upgrade, ghouls on 1-1 now. With Scourge Bone Chimes, even though it's level 1, and Scrolls, good luck. He'll need it. And, well, in this case, we have him play as safe as he possibly can. SyDe is sitting there and is just saying, have fun attacking my base. Good luck with that. Yep, Spirit Tower is in. And there we go. The attack is happening. And he can go in with the Crypt Lord. Bam! There's the stun, there's the Nova, and kiss your army goodbye. There's no way he's going to win this. The ghouls are heavily upgraded. They don't have the 2-2 yet, but they definitely have Ghoul Frenzy and everything else. So now that the Priestess is just barely staffed out, he's just wrecking through those archers. 3 on the Lich, 2 on the Nova, therefore, and the GG is called as SyDe wins game number 2 and equalizes the score in the best of 5 grand final at the Masters Clash Qualifier number 1. Game number 3, the grand final continues, the best of 5 series, Northern Isles, the 3rd map. Toxie, he was able to take Echo Isles, SyDe was able to win the 2nd map, and this is gonna be an interesting one now, because it really feels that if SyDe doesn't get completely blindsided by those fairy dragons anymore, that Toxie is going to have a bit of a tough time. It was honestly a nice strategy that we had in game number 2. First of all, SyDe was opening up with Gargoyles and then harassing his opponent, who kind of had to assume that there would be more following, so he prepared for that a little bit. But then we had to switch into ghouls, and since he had an expansion and could easily build ghouls from multiple crypts, that was an easy play for him to make. And archers only obviously don't do anything, like nothing against those ghouls. Once that they have Ghoul Frenzy, once there are a few of scrolls introduced to the mix, you pretty much don't stand a chance there. And of course, on top of that, to make matters even worse, the triple hero setup with a Crypt Lord 3rd for the stun, and then also the Nova, which hit level 2 during the fight, made things nearly impossible for the Nightelf. After the expansion got sniped, it was pretty much lights out. The only thing that Toxie could hope for was a bit of a YOLO move and maybe a lucky punch against one of the opponent's heroes that would allow him to snowball that slightly. That didn't really happen, so yeah, that was a bit of an issue. So there's already some scouting going on as we have wisps crossing the map. The expansion, or the main base, gives us again the Keeper of the Grove on Toxie's side, so he's opening with the exact same setup that he had in the last game. Acolyte already scouted out the position, kills the frog, which is unacceptable. So, frog should always survive. But, well, off we go. 1 archer, 1 Ancient of War, and here we go. Tusker, warrior, and the archer is down. Oh my fucking god. Baits it in, archer is eliminated, have fun dealing with this. Without the archer, this is going to be rough. And he's already working on the wisp. Oh my god, this is gonna be a disaster. Goes for the dispel right over here, and guess what? The Death Knight is on the way. And because the archer isn't here, this entire creep is of course slowed down. Which means that normally when the Death Knight doesn't make it in time, this time he definitely will be there in time to make some noise. And yep, there we go. He's starting to take it. He gets the Augur Magi, steals it away with a coil, steals the item. What a disaster for Toxie in the early game. Holy hell. Wisp gets annihilated, and even the Ancient of War is in trouble. So now we have no chance for the Keeper to get to level 2, which is normally the idea for when you try to creep that camp. But this is a nightmare. This is an absolutely nightmare for Toxie. Yeah, has to rebuild the archer. There's still that one Tusker Trapper that is attacking. Can take that one too, by the way, if he wants. He's already getting his skeletons in. Gets it underneath 100 hit points, and bam, there's the coil. Level 2 for him. Holy shit. Level 2 Death Knight. Half a level on the Keeper. And the Wand of Mana Stealing is getting used now too, which means even more coils available. What a disaster for Toxie in the early game. Spots another Wisp right there. Can try and take that one out too. A little bit of an attack already happening. Could always shoot the coil if he needs to. But this is definitely not the opening that the Nightelf envisioned when he started this 3rd map in the best of 5. Necropolis tech already into the Halls of the Dead. And SyDe is attacking the main base as we speak. Bam, another Wisp down. And in the early stages, this is of course just bad news, because you're literally finding yourself in a position where every single bit of gold that you have to spend will impact your build order and the way that you head into the mid game. So, yep, right now, he actually fakes the animation again on the Death Coil and forces the Moonwell to be built here. For Toxie, everything is going wrong here. Absolutely everything. He's on 24 supply now. builds another Tree of Life, or well, builds his expansion, so he's trying to fall back into the traditional pattern here. He's trying to stabilize, but that's not going to be made easier by the fact that the Death Knight is again looking for another coil. Theoretically could land one soon, so the tech is slowed down, and that Keeper is not looking too hot either. Yeah, drops the item here quickly, as he tries to get his hit points and mana back up. And there's already an attack against the Tree of Life, and every single hit at this point definitely counts. The Acolyte comes in again, he wants to force another cancel, could even make that one happen. Another Moonwell, as we have the coil flying through, so saves the Wisp, has to cancel. Can he still take down that base? Guys, that Tree of Life has to be cancelled again. Yeah, the coil doesn't really have the desired effect here on the Wisp, but still, cancelling that base again is just fantastic for him. Another entangle on the Death Knight, and he has to finally move away. But this doesn't change the fact that not only did Toxie lose out on tons of experience, lose out on the item too, but he also now was delayed on his expansion. He lost multiple Wisps. We have the Tree of Life, well, really done teching into the Tree of Ages, but wow, immediately has to rebuild Wisps, and for good reason, obviously. But what a start for SyDe here. So right now, Death Knight is sitting on level 2.5 nearly, and it's going to get that Orc Warrior at the top, and therefore also an additional item. Ice Troll is going to fall in a second too. It's going to be an early level 3 later on for this guy. And also Lich is already in. And down to the bottom of the map, there's the creep. So we are at least Crystal Ball. We're at least going to see that Keeper make it to level 3 fairly soon too. And the expansion can always set into place here, but the opening is definitely fantastic for SyDe. Now there's the Alchemist in, so both of the players already have their second hero in the game. Ogre Magi goes down again. Bam! That's the Potion of Greater Mana. Okay, yeah. He is crushing right now. This is going to be a Death Knight soon on 3. Lich is in, has the Claws of Attacks +6, and he gets a Potion of Greater Mana, which is of course one of the best items that he can get here. So Death Knight will hit level 3 in just a bit, and then a level 2 coil alone is already going to put the Nightelf player into trouble. Fiends are in, yeah, not gonna kill those anytime soon. Down to the bottom of the map, I assume that after the expansion is in, we're gonna see the same pattern in terms of buildings. Gonna probably, well, there we have it. Yep, Ancient of Wind. Who would have thought? Yeah, he likes that style, and again, it's a strong style. If you get to Fairy Dragons, it's really tricky for the Undead player to deal with it. And now, of course, since he in this game doesn't play Dark Ranger first, but a Keeper, that makes at least the heroes a little bit more perceptible to that direct damage from the nukes. But the scenario is still very, very similar. We are looking at a game where SyDe has taken the lead early on with fantastic attacks. Killing that Archer, of course, or letting the creeps kill him, baiting them in, was a big deal. And you gotta give it to Toxie. I mean, him recovering from these problems is actually something that I feel really is one of his biggest strengths so far, because he actually faced similar situations now in, I want to say, all 3 maps. And he did well around it, so he isn't shaken too much when it happens. He actually tries to just stabilize as quickly as he can and takes every single opportunity to get back on track. Now, though, we have the attack already happening with 2 of the statues coming in. Archers down, and I think we're going to see a lot more of those fall. We don't have any destroyers just yet to dispel the entangle, but archers are definitely going to fall here. And especially since the Lich already has the Orb of Corruption, this is just doing solid work. And there's the GG. Toxie, as much as he's trying to recover here, this is just a bit too much to be asked for. And that's a 2-1 lead for SyDe in the best of 5. Well played, as the Undead player takes the lead in the best of 5 in the Grand Final of the Masters Clash. Game number 4, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, overlay is a little bit screwed here, but we're going to fix it in just a second. Obviously, we have a lead for SyDe right now in this series. So yeah, nicely done by him on the last map. Obviously, him being able to bait the creeps into killing the Archer change the entire rhythm of the game. And Toxie has shown extreme resilience against all of those early game problems, but this was just a little bit too much to handle. The archer damage missing allowed the Death Knight to arrive in time to get the experience and the item itself, and of course it just threw Toxie off a little bit too much. So now SyDe is in the lead in this and has a chance to secure himself a victory in the first qualifier for the Masters Clash. And on the top left of Terraner's stand we now have him in green again, the Undead player. Whereas down to the bottom right of the map, off we go with Toxie, attempting to bring it back and force map number 5 in this series. Of course, same pattern again, building the Ancient of War a little bit farther forward in an attempt to also make sure that he can creep the mercenary camp immediately. Now, one thing that you might have already realized is that he delayed his altar. So what we're going to see again is a neutral hero, aka there's a strong possibility that we're going to see an opening with the Dark Ranger again, which is exactly the style that made SyDe lose one game. So Acolyte is currently underway to scout out what's happening here. When you send the Acolyte across, one of the things that you of course want to pay attention to is exactly how far is my opponent already with all of these setups. Already have a little bit of an attempt to see if he can, do I bait something over here, yes, no. Tries to scout that out. I mean, the idea is here to find out what my opponent has as a first hero. But now that we have the archer rushing towards the tavern, you can already tell that he's not going to see that anytime soon. Well, he's going to see it in a little bit. We still have those guys on a bit of a cooldown. But yep, sees it now, knows exactly, well, altar isn't done yet. Okay, we're going to have a neutral hero again. Death Knight is already on the way. But with 2 archers now up at the tavern, the neutral hero is going to be taken in just a moment. And shocker, I know, it is a Dark Ranger, which is spotted immediately by the Death Knight. And he might actually stick around a bit to try and snipe the Rogue Wizard on level 3 here. Or just simply chase a couple of these archers around. Alright, already gets the first coil in. So that allows him not only to summon a couple of skeletons, but we have him with a bit of experience early on in this one. So far so good. Minions are of course in, and here's the prize. The Rogue Wizard on level 3. Okay, so now we're talking. And now he has to decide how he wants to play this. Gets an attempt to get more experience in. This one didn't actually work out for him. In the main base, of course, the tech already into Necropolis. And over towards the top, even more of the minor creeps are currently being taken. Yeah, it's like this back and forth play that we have between the two, and he was aiming also to get the Renegade Wizard here. But right now, Toxie is doing a solid job with this. He has a lot of archers though. Already invested into 5 archers and is starting to snipe all of this, whereas we're not really seeing any big moves from his opponent. Another attempt to maybe steal something away here, but honestly he can't. With this many ranged units, the Death Knight is just getting a beating whenever he's getting close to the action. So the lower he falls in HP, the lesser his chances of getting those Imperium points stolen away from his opponent anytime soon. So Toxie is playing this quite nice and is now going to be in a spot where he can get both of those Rogue Wizards. Yep, Acolyte is also nearly taken down. He was sent in to maybe scout. First one down. Tries to move to the bottom to at least snipe one of them. Gets one coil in. Yeah, a little bit more damage. And he's going to take it. Coil is going to be ready in just a second. And he steals the Claws of Attack +6. He is still in trouble though. That slow was a nuisance, but he breaks through the attempt of body blocking him. Ooh, 2 hit points. Oh, that's a kill. Down goes the Death Knight. Toxie is in range for another shot and he gets it. Claws of Attack, really worth it? Well, that's the question here. Gets the Claws of Attack and the experience, but loses the hero in the process. Was only a level 1 Death Knight. Now, of course, you don't use the town portal for that one. Just doesn't really, it's not really worth it, because the hero is bought back just too quickly. Doesn't really cost a lot of time and a lot of resources to get a level 1 hero back to business, but it also means that there's not going to be any harass left for the Undead player, so SyDe can't really do anything. Toxie is aware of it and therefore is able now, without any interference, to creep the right side of the map and take the mercenary camp. Which also, of course, opens him up to get a Forest Troll Berserker and the Shadow Priest. The tech into the Tree of Ages is nearly done. Up to the top.
Are under attack.
House of the Dead is already completed, and there's the Lich as the second hero right away. What are we going to see here? He goes for the expansion spot. I mean, there's always a chance that you're actually setting yourself up with an expansion up at the top. But first of all, what you really want to do is get... Yeah, there it is! Sacrificial Skull, didn't even catch that. Okay, so he wants to already prep for a possible expansion play here. Ring of Regeneration, also very nice if he wants to be a bit more aggressive later on. And just simply go for the harass again. That's an item that he could very well be used earlier. There's no expansion, by the way. Oh, my bad, sorry. There is, of course, one. Tree of Life is already being built. For a second, I was just like, wait, what? Okay. So Tree of Life is in. Expansion attempt now from both players, but there's the double Ziggurat, so the gold mine isn't getting haunted yet. But a 2-base against 2-base play favors the Undead player. So if he gets that through and has in a reasonable time frame, the Acolytes prepared for it as well, is going to be in a great spot for that. But up to the main base, what are we going to see here? Tech into the Black Citadel after all? Because that's the problem. If you're actually trying to tech now quickly too, then you are in a weird and vulnerable spot when your opponent makes a play for the expansion. Level 2 for the Death Knight, level 1 for the Lich. Yep. Scout is already in, so Toxie with all the lesser dark minions that he's summoning thanks to the Dark Ranger knows what's going on here. Still no tech though, but instead the Slaughterhouse is relying on the tier 2 units, at least for now. Main base, also a bit of scout happening. I mean, both players have now skeletons available. And we have the double Ancient of Wind again. Take a wild guess what kind of unit composition we are going to look at in the later stages of the game. There's nothing really to prevent it anymore, because this time the side can't be aggressive enough to interrupt the pattern, the tech pattern, to an extent where the town is under siege. The thing is, Fairy Dragons make it into the game. Death Knight nearly on level 3 now, though. Also Potion of Greater Healing in the inventory, and both of them are just going for creep spots now. So the Keeper as the second hero again in this game. So Toxie is following the style that he used in game 1 on Echo Isles again. But this time he's up against a much earlier expansion on SyDe's side. So that is definitely the big difference right now. We have a second crypt coming in, so he's delaying the tech into tier 3 a little bit. He has the expansion now, he's building more acolytes, he's trying to saturate that base as quickly as he can. And the big difference from this game to game 1 where Toxie took the win is simply that the Undead player now has a much earlier second source of income. Has also now the Lich, with a great aura here. Lion Horn of Stormwind, nice for him. But the attack is there. Is he going to be able to defend this properly? There's not a lot of acolytes here yet. And this is a big push from Toxie on 44 supply against the 34 that we have from side. But the 2 towers, that's a problem. 1 Spirit Tower and an Erubian Tower, and down goes the first Hippogriff Rider. And he's about to take a second one as well. Yeah, that should be an easy hit, and there it is. Nova comes in and takes it apart. The Keeper is falling. The Keeper is dying unless he TPs. TP is passed over. Has the Flute of Accuracy, by the way. So yeah, Keeper doesn't die, but he had to move out. So, well, he buys himself a little more time. Toxie on 36 supplies, side on 31. So that's a pretty sweet move for him. But now that we have the first Fairy Dragons being built and the tech into tier 3 is also happening on the blue player's side. This is going to be one of those moments when... let's face it. SyDe knows what's going to happen. This is the style that Toxie has been playing in every single game. This is the style that he played in the semifinals, which SyDe could watch. So it's not going to come as a surprise what's happening here. He played against it in game number 1. And now he just has to prepare for it accordingly. The expansion is going to help him. Last time he ran out of resources. He had a massive problem setting up that second base. Now he has that base already in play. He himself is not tagging into tier 3 yet, but we're going to see that Black Citadel attack soon. But now he has a double crypt, can get those crypt fiends out quickly. And once that we are heading into those fights, he now has this time also the Lich as the second hero, is going to rely heavily on that auto attack damage to try and take those Fairy Dragons down. But the Fiends alone will be a problem. Well, if he keeps them, because this one gets killed quickly. Good entangle, alright. Potion of Invulnerability is chosen as well, but there's level 3 for the Lich. Level 4 for the Dark Ranger though, so yeah, there's no level 3 for the Keeper yet, but that's going to happen soon enough as well. Honestly, would probably put the aura onto the Dark Ranger. Because if any of those 2 heroes is in danger of getting sniped, it's the Keeper, not the Dark Ranger. And if you staff the Keeper back, that also means that you don't have the aura into the fight anymore. And if you remember game number 1, the one thing that Toxie had to do over and over and over again was staff the Keeper back. There's so many of those minions
A
now.
player's forces are under
It's like an
attack.
entire army that's moving in. And still no Black Citadel tech. Instead we see, well, the Necropolis being built. And Spirit Towers are now also in. Down to the bottom, there's Gargoyles again. Oh, I messed up the item. My apologies. So yeah, we had another Fiend, but there's the Gargoyles. Gargoyles coming through, and that's definitely a very different style. Now, that's also the explanation why he delayed the tech even more. Yeah, Gargoyles are getting built. There's the tech into the Black Citadel. It's a pretty solid Gargoyle army now. So all of a sudden we're talking about exactly those one-shots potentially against the Wisps. There's +1 attack upgrades now too. It's a very different style for him. And that can actually work out. Yep, goes in, snipes the first one, and doesn't lose a Gargoyle in the process just yet. Army supply, or just army in general, 51 supply against 4 D8. There's a mad amount of gold though for Toxie. Bit of a scout at the bottom of the map with a ghoul, just double checking if there's another expansion attempt from his Nightelf opponent, which in this case isn't really happening. Yeah, all about the creep again. Both players are kind of dancing around a little bit here, trying to bait that over. But yeah, Gargoyles are being built one after another. Can snipe the Renegade Wizard on level 5, which is of course the big one. Gets the experience and gets the item, Skull of the Beast. And let's have a quick look into, I guess actually everything here. And level 4 for the Death Knight. Have fun with more hit and run. And it's more Gargoyles, Gargoyles, Gargoyles. And guess what's missing this time? That Alchemist that we've seen previously. So he doesn't have any chance of an acid bomb here. Goes straight in for the fight. SyDe is absolutely not afraid of taking that battle. He has the Skull of the Beast and he is using it. Scroll of the Beast used right away. Saves most of the Gargoyles. There's another Nova dropping a couple of the archers, but he has to retreat here. 46 supply for him, 47 for Toxie, but Toxie used a lot of his resources now. And the Gargoyles are making it in. Yeah, they miss those reinforcements though, but they can now head for the main base and start to take down even more Wisps. Scroll of the Beast is still active. And we currently... Oh, the Shredder, yeah. That's always one of the best targets. If you can drop the Shredder, that's absolutely fantastic. Because one of the things that a Nightelf can do in order to make sure that the Gargoyles alone can't really drop him too much in lumber is go for a Shredder. And that Shredder taken down is important. Yeah, he gets 1 Hippogriff. And let's see if he gets get a little bit more. Tries to play around it, but SyDe is in a great spot now. 44 supply for Toxie. The attack at the expansion. And I think he also scouted the Roost over here. Yep, Chimera Roost has been scouted out. And yep, SyDe is in a SyDe actually is. Look at this. He's actually going for the spot at the bottom left and is trying to take that now too. A second expansion coming in. Yep. Level 4 on both heroes for him. As he's starting to chase down some free experience. Skeleton Archers, bam, gone. Book of the Dead has been used there earlier. And now he's starting to actually attempt to snipe the gold mine. Yeah, first game we actually saw the exact opposite. We saw the haunted gold mine killed over and over and over again. And this time he's saying like, okay, I'm going to give you a taste of your own medicine, my friend. So in we go. 56 supply against 50. SyDe has not gone into the low upkeep yet. Has the expansion at the bottom left now up, by the way. And is currently building a third crypt. With him staying at 50 supply, he's just trying to amass as many resources as he can. And then make the play by simply just dropping mad amount of units onto his opponent. 2 attack upgrades, 1 armor upgrade, and he's just pinning him down. Sniping the Wisps, 1 trying to go for more. But yep, he has the better upgrades at this point. At least I assume so, let me double check. Yep, 0 upgrades on those Hippogriffs. 0, nada, niente, nothing. And yeah, have fun with that fight. Honestly, I think that Toxie is just dying a slow death. He gets 1 Gargoyle, that's already important. But as this base at the bottom left is slowly starting to pay dividends for SyDe, and as he's just upgrading his units more and more and more, this is a bit of a disaster. Yeah, and again, he's pinning him down. He has those Gargoyles sitting there the entire time, and SyDe has now started to cross over into the low upkeep. He's at 65 supply. Just dropping units. Let's just look at this. Triple crypt and everything is just producing more and more Gargoyles. He has that extra base. There is nothing that his opponent knows about this. There's the +3 attack upgrade now. That's already ready. And now we have the information for Toxie that there is an expansion. And yeah, he tries to take this down. But guys, the Gargoyle fight alone is already going to be rough. and he is losing it quickly. Toxie 61 supply, Lich near level 5, 60 versus 60 supply right now, and the upgrades just make it. The upgrades make it. That's the kill right there. Down goes the entire army of the Nightelf, and I think this is going to be the victory eventually for SyDe in this grand final. He just starts to drop the units, says the GG, well played, and this is game! SyDe crowns himself the champion of the first qualifier for the Masters Clash series. Nicely done, a 3-1 victory in the best of 5 for the other player. GG, and well played.